As we approach another election year, it's easy to get caught up in the two-party system, but there is another choice besides the left and the right. Let's welcome Dr. Kasie Whitener, State Committee Chairperson for the South Carolina Libertarian Party, and so glad that you're here to share more about your party. You know, a lot of people, they do just think it's a two-party system, but maybe give us some insight as to what libertarian means. A lot of people wonder if it's liberal, is it conservative, what is it?
Sure. So the Libertarian Party is the third largest political party in the country. In South Carolina, we have about 6,000 registered members of the Libertarian Party. Our goal is really to be a liberal voice in terms of freedom for everybody. All your freedoms all the time is kind of the tagline that we have out there. We're for very small government, very limited government. We're for people working together, cooperating instead of being coerced to do things, to participate in things that they don't want to be a part of.
And like what in particular? We
think of taxation as coercion. Anytime that the people are using the government to inflict their will upon others, we're opposed to that.
When you talk about taxation, I mean, certainly there are plenty of people in, say, the Republican Party that want to shrink government. The Democratic Party, a little bit opposite, I think, view as far as that goes. But when you talk about taxation, how do you run a country without some level of taxation? Are you looking at more of a tempered approach without completely abolishing taxes?
Yeah, I mean, realistically, it's about cooperation, right? So if we think of something like an income tax, you don't have a choice. You have to pay that. That's coercion. After you pay your income taxes, then you go out and you buy your food and you pay sales tax. Well, depending on what you buy, you're paying a certain amount of sales tax. You are now cooperating because you're paying the sales tax. Right. So that tax is a little bit less evil, but at the end of the day, you're getting to choose how you're going to spend that sales tax. Right. And then ultimately, when you buy something, you own it, and now you're paying property taxes on it. So you've been taxed 3 times on the same thing, right?
Believe me, you don't have to tell me twice.
Right.
Like, I'm not a huge fan of taxes
so
either.
Our feeling is just that if people come together in cooperation and decide we have things we want to contribute to together collectively, fire departments, streets, police departments, these kinds of things that are cooperative efforts for a community consenting
together. We have
volunteer
groups that will do a volunteer fire department, for instance, but how do you get everybody on board? Because I think we're so used to the system that we have. How do you carve that path and get people on board and behind your message?
It's a difficult one, mostly because we have to encourage people to get engaged. You can't expect somebody else to do it for you. You have to step up and volunteer. You've got to be somebody who's willing to participate. You have to come and give of your time and your energy and part of your resources to participate in the community. And we've gotten into this slump where we believe that government, because we give it all of this money through our taxes, will simply solve all of our problems. And we've seen that that's not been the case. So it's a hard message.
And when you talk about cooperation, some people might be hearing socialism. Is this socialist?
Absolutely not.
No.
No, so socialism is where the government itself is a centrally planned design and everybody participates in this centrally planned organization. This is not about that. It's not authoritarianism. It's about cooperation between communities. And if your community is one where you want to participate, then you're going to cooperate with the community. Right. If it's not one, then you'll either find another community or you'll move elsewhere.
And libertarianism, the idea and the fact that it's on the ballot is pretty new here in South Carolina. I think the first libertarian that was on a ballot was in 1972. And by 1976, pretty much every state was on board with that. But do we know who the candidate is for 2024?
Not for presidential, no. So the way the Libertarians elect our president is that we'll all go to National Convention on Memorial Day weekend. We will send 16 delegates from the state of South Carolina, and we will represent our districts here in South Carolina and the will of our people here. And then we'll elect a candidate Memorial Day weekend. The national party will get behind a specific candidate. So between now and then, all the states are holding their conventions. We just had ours in November, and we actually held a presidential debate amongst the candidates who have come forward, who have raised money, who have really put some legitimate work into becoming president. So you can find that on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, where we had a really great debate among 6 different candidates. And you can see some of those. You can kind of figure out who the front runners are going to be as we move into May.
Memorial Day, though, that doesn't give you a whole lot of time between Memorial Day and November.
No, it's late. Yeah, it really is. It's a little bit of a disadvantage. It's a little bit of a disadvantage, but they're already gaining traction. I mean, We have one candidate who has been to 47 states. He'll be to all 50 before he gets to the Memorial Day weekend. So they're already campaigning. They're out there doing it, talking to libertarians.
And you say he's the front runner. Who is this?
I wouldn't call him I don't know if he's the front runner.
Okay.
I don't want to be on record as the front runner, but I will say his name's Chase Oliver. He's a fantastic candidate. So he's somebody that's been traveling around and visiting with libertarians all across the nation.
We're going to keep our eye on that. And for people who want more information, we're going to direct you to their website, but also January 23rd from 2 to 5 p.m. at the State House grounds in Columbia. They're going to have an event there as well. So if you're interested, head up to Columbia. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
The Libertarian Party. We're back after this.